By the end of the day today, federal agencies will turn over all information they have about UFOs, or unidentified aerial phenomena, known as UAPs, to the National Archives, which will then be made public. This comes as the Pentagon was just pressed on this very issue.
I'm going to take the shot. What do you got on UFOs, aliens, etc.? Go.
The truth is out there, Jeff. And the truth is, we have no evidence to indicate extraterrestrial life has visited the planet.
All right. Well, here with us is Ryan Graves. He is the first active duty fighter pilot to go public and discuss sightings. He is also the founder of Americans for Space Aerospace. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me this morning.
Of course. You were an F-18 fighter pilot with the U.S. Navy. You are one of the first active duty pilots to go public about sightings of UAPs. Can you tell us what you saw in the skies?
Absolutely. We came back from our deployments while we were doing our normal duties on the eastern seaboard, and we upgraded our radars and began to see objects in our working areas just off the coast of Virginia Beach that we just didn't know how to explain. They were often stationary or even moving supersonic, and eventually we got close enough to these objects to break them out, and they would often look like a dark cube, either black or gray, with inside of a clear sphere.
When you went up your chain of command and told them what you saw, what was the reaction you got?
Well, unfortunately, we were only able to get so far up the chain before we hit a wall. My presumption would be that this was an issue that would get resolved through some normal channel, through some way. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And it was just an issue that was ongoing and that we had to mitigate ourselves.
You testified before a House Oversight Committee about your experience. I am curious, what motivated you to go public here, Ryan?
Well, my motivation was simple. When I saw the 2017 New York Times article and the videos that were released, I realized that that was really a cry for help, and that my colleagues on the East Coast and elsewhere were still just trying to manage this issue on their own. And so my goal was to simply be able to provide whatever information and value that I could in order to mitigate the situation, since it was going unmitigated through leadership.
So we're talking about the deadline for these documents to be handed to the National Archives, What do you ultimately hope to learn from any information disclosed by federal agencies when it comes to these UAPs?
Well, I think we have to be a bit tepid with our expectations. First off, there is going to be classified information that is submitted to the National Archives, and that doesn't mean that we'll necessarily get access to that information. Also, it has been revealed recently that the Department of Defense and other organizations have actually now until 2025 in order to release this information on a rolling basis. So I would not expect all this information to come out right now, and that we'll be seeing this over the next year come out in groupings. However, we have to understand that most of the information we would expect to be in a highly classified format. And so I don't necessarily have high hopes that this information release is going to provide the type of closure that most people are hoping for.
Yeah, I want to add to what you just said. We know Congress is planning more UFO hearings come November in just a few weeks. What do you hope to hear and learn from these hearings?
Well, of course, it would be nice to have some whistleblowers that were actually involved in the program or that have detailed information. In addition, there has been some recent releases about Immaculate Constellation and some work that supposedly has been done to stop this information from promulgating to the rest of the defense enterprise. And so, my hope would be that we get more information around how the government is really handling this information internally and how they're stopping the rest of the DoD enterprise from really having access to this information. And not just DoD, but of course by the congressional or by the constitutionally mandated members of Congress who are supposed to be privy to this type of information.
Ryan, do you think the government is taking this seriously enough?
I believe certain parts of the government are certainly taking this serious. However, I don't think that information is being promulgated to the rest of the Department of Defense or intelligence communities. And so there's a gap of awareness. And that gap of awareness affects our planning for future missions and defensive capabilities. And I think therein lies the largest fault of this issue, is that we're exposing ourselves to this national security gap, if you will, and that without full understanding of what we're dealing with, we're going to continue in that unsteady, uncertain, unsafe position.
Oh, Ryan, as more documents come out and these hearings are underway, we hope you come back. Ryan Graves, thank you for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.